Welcome to the 2025 PGA Championship at Quail Hollow Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. Compared to regular PGA Tour events hosted at the beautiful Quail Hollow venue, the PGA Championship has added a ton of length to the layout, with new tee boxes at the uphill 9th hole, which is a treacherous par 4 that now measures 530 yards. And the 16th hole, which is a par 4 that now measures 529 yards. Early week rainstorms soaked the grounds, making the course play even longer, but man is it beautiful at Quail Hollow. Here at GolfWRX.com though, we know why you're here. You're here for the gear, and let's get right into it. The PGA Championship is a special major because PGA Section Club Pros can qualify for the event. And this year, Michael Block makes his return with a set of clubs where he literally has nothing new in the bag. His newest piece of equipment is a TaylorMade QI10 6-wood, and according to him, if you total up the age of each of the clubs in his bag, it's 111 years old. Just check out these TaylorMade Tour Preferred MC irons from 2014, completely caked in lead tape and nostalgia. We also got a look at Michael Block's lead tape filled Odyssey 2-ball putter with a Pro-Am logo on the face insert. You just don't see that often out on tour. Certainly an absolute gem of a bag setup from Block. In PGA Tour player news, we got a look at Colin Morikawa's new TaylorMade QI35 9-wood that he started playing last week at the Truist in Philly. Speaking with GolfWRX.com, Colin said he loves the height and stopping power that the 9-wood provides, but obviously it's not great in the wind if it picks up over 20 miles an hour. We also got an in-hand look at Justin Thomas's Scotty Cameron T5.5 prototype putter, which has a custom single bend neck that helps put his hands in the right position at address and allows his stroke to be more free and athletic. The custom gear at the PGA Championship was awesome as always, with equipment manufacturers bringing their best Charlotte and Quail Hollow inspired custom designs out. We saw the Scotty Cameron Duck Hunt covers, and more from Callaway, Odyssey, TaylorMade, LIV Golf, we even saw a custom Lexus in partnership with Malbon Golf. But nothing screams Charlotte more than Cobra's custom staff bags and head covers, which Ricky Fowler was using this week. The 2013 PGA champion Jason Dufner was also using the Cobra staff bag, and we caught up with him on Wednesday to talk about it. We also went deep with him on his full what's in the bag, the changes he's making for this week, and we got some insight into his club collection at home. All right, Duff, this might be the coolest bag I've ever seen. You got to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think this was definitely like early Charlotte Hornets kind of colors and logo that were here in Charlotte. There's that. There's the bottom, which I'm not going to lift up, but it looked like a basketball. They've kind of made the material to look like a basketball. So it's definitely being here in Charlotte. They always, whatever city the majors are in, they try to kind of do something to represent the city that we're at that week.
Where would you rank this among staff bags you've used? Because you've had some cool ones.
Yeah, we've had some pretty cool ones. I kind of tend to just like them all. And, most of them I end up giving away for charity and stuff for my foundation. I'm not a big, I go through a lot of equipment, but I don't keep a lot of equipment. I end up giving it away and stuff like that. So Cobra's been always great about these, different things that they do to promote the brand and promote the players. So it's a nice partnership.
What's the story behind the 43 ball?
So the 43 is a logo. A friend of mine, Philip Lutzenkircher, played at Auburn. He ended up dying in a car accident. That's the foundation that they started afterwards. I was friends with Philip, got to know his family, after he passed away, and just told him that I would do that to represent him and the family and Auburn a little bit.
That's great. You want to take us through the back?
Yeah, we can run through this real quick. So pretty much all the stuff in here is Cobra. This is a 60. So I used to have to hand grind. I didn't personally do that. Ben Showman would hand grind these 60s. I take, there's a ton of bounce here on the front. This angle is pretty sharp from front to back, and then it tapers off. Bunch of heel relief, bunch of toe relief. I like the wider sole. I feel like it gives me a little bit more room for error. What's been cool about this is 2 years ago, I gave them one of the heads that I really liked, and they were able to scan it, and now they 3D print these. So these come out exactly like this. This is a brand new one this week. I like these custom ferrules. I get these from a guy in Tennessee. I always have different ones. And True Temper recently came back out with this spinner shaft for these wedges. I played this all through, my career. There was a period of time where they weren't available. So I'm excited about this going back in. This actually does increase spin with pretty much every shot around the bag. I don't know the exact specifications of why that is, but I do know that you do gain some spin.
So it works.
It works. It definitely adds spin, full shots. It's really good for half shots, and even chips you get a little bit more, which is just how the shaft loads. These other wedges are pretty standard. These are the V grinds. They touch up the leading edge a little bit for me. I've been known to be a bit of a digger, leaning the shaft, so that little relief on the front edge there helps me out. They kind of buff that out, round it out. The 56 has the spinner shaft, the 50 doesn't. Again, ferrules, and then I use the mid-size grips. I just like that feel. I don't necessarily have big hands, but I like that feel. My set here is these King CBs. I use this Project XIO 6.0, lightweight, 110 gram shaft. I've used a version of this for a long time. They used to be the PXI. That's what I won the PGA with in 2013. I love the sole on these and the camber. Leading edge gets me into the ground, and the bounce is pretty quick, so it pops me out. I don't stay in the ground very, very long. I do bend these 2 degrees strong from what they come out, so that gives me a little bit more offset. I'm a little bit of an old school guy. I saw a thing he did with Adam Scott. Mm-hmm. He likes offset. I like offset. That makes me feel like I want to lean the handle, trap the ball, take the loft off as opposed to adding loft. That gives me a feeling of more club face control. So I definitely like the offset in these. When I get to the long irons, I go to these King Tours. They're just a little bit more forgiving, a little bit lower CG. Don't really do much to them. They're bent 2 degrees strong, but just helps me get the ball up in the air a little bit higher, softer landing with these long irons. Recently, I started hitting my 4-iron like a 48-year-old, which has not been very good. So this is the first week with a 4 hybrid. This one actually says 22, but I've actually added some loft to work on the gapping. It was going a little bit too far at 22 degrees. This one's got like 23.5 degrees now. And then I've got this hybrid Ventus shaft, this red 9X. I didn't, I've played a standard 4-iron with these same IO shafts forever. This is the first shaft I tested out pretty good. This club gets me a nice gap, like in that 215 range, but it has a lot of height. I was getting pretty significant steep land angle with it and higher peak height. So that could be very beneficial to me on any courses, but especially this week at Quad Hollow, because I think I'll be using this a lot on some of the par 3s and some of the short par 5s, as I call them, that they have here.
Yeah, 9's crazy. I was back on that tee box earlier.
It has a lot of short par 5s for me, so I'm excited to make a lot of birdies on those holes. A little bit unusual setup this week. I don't have a 3-wood because I don't think I'm going to use it off the tee. And to be honest with you, most of the holes, if I'm pushing 3-wood, it's probably not a good choice. But I do feel like I'm going to have a lot of shots from that like 210 to 240 range for me. So I've got a 5-wood that's a bit strong. It's about 17 degrees of loft, 17 and a quarter. And then I have a 7-wood that's at about a little bit less than 21. I think it's like at 20 and a half.
That one's been in the bag for a while.
Well, this one has actually been the victim of my young son taking it out of my bag and dragging it around the driveway. That's why this sole is so banged up on the bottom. I didn't realize he was doing it, and then I found out he was doing it, so he just kind of scrapes it along. So this is a variation for this week. I don't do that often, but I just feel like this week I'm going to have a ton of shots, probably from 215 to 240, into par 4s, into par 3s, stuff like that. So it just gives me more variety. I'm not going to feel like I have to hit some type of specialty shot with a 3-wood or smoke a 7-wood or whatever. On to driver. So I'm pretty excited about the driver because of the shaft. I played Yellow Hazardous for a long time. I won Palm Springs, I won Memorial, and that shaft went away for a while. This is their 5th generation. It's a Yellow Hazardous 60 gram TX that is in a DS Adapt X head. It says 9.9 loft. I've added 0.7 loft. That's the great thing about this new fit technology, the Sure Fit. There's so many options. This is pretty flat. It's about 1.5 degrees flat, and I've added a little bit of loft. So that gives you a lot of variability with the heads. You can really dial in what lofts you want and, what angle lofts you want and lie angles. So that's been good. This shaft, I'm excited. I've hit it pretty well. It'll be nice to see what it does in competition because I'm familiar with this shaft. Shafts come and go, and this one wasn't available for a while, so I was kind of trying to find some other options. I like this because it's counterbalanced. A lot of stuff I like is counterbalanced. I play a little longer. This is 45.75, so I can play a little bit longer, but I can keep my head weight up pretty good. This is almost 198 gram head weight, so I get a good smash on it. Heavier hammer, heavier hit, and that counterbalance keeps that swing weight kind of in that D2, D3 range, so I can still move it pretty fast. And then the putter, got the LIV. I've got DF3 right now. I have been using a DF2, but putters don't last very long in my bag for whatever reason.
We've noticed.
Once I get to feeling a way about one, I get rid of it. This is a DF3 head. I've been using their stuff off and on for a while. This year I've used it exclusively. I just believe in the technology and the engineering of the putter. And this is just a same type of style that I've been using, just a little bit different look. So I'm eager to see how that goes too. So I got a couple changes in the bag, which probably is a little abnormal for a major. But, I haven't been playing, I'm not regularly playing out here, so it's not like I have a lot of past history here this year to go on like I feel comfortable with X, Y, and Z. I'm just trying to, find some things that fit and work the best for me this week.
And we asked Adam this question. What does your club collection look like, and what are some of your favorite clubs of all time?
Yeah, my club collection is quite limited. My OCD kicks in, and I don't like having it. I give a lot of stuff away. I give a lot of stuff back. I have some Camerons that I have that are pretty rare and pretty exclusive, kind of one-offs. That stuff's cool. I have some sets of Mizuno irons, like MP29s and MP14s from when I was in college. That's what I played. Growing up as a junior, I played Tommy Armour 845s. I have a set of those from when I was a kid. So a lot of the stuff I have is old stuff that you're never gonna, find again. But I would say my collection is below average for most tour players, even though I run through a lot of equipment.
That's good. Give it back.
Yeah, I
Man of the people.
or give it away, or there's always somebody that wants something golf related for free, for sure.
Yeah, they do. Thanks for the time, Duff. Play well this week.
Thanks.
Speaking of Cobra, let's get into a special giveaway this week as a thank you to our fans and subscribers for tuning in each week to our Inside the Ropes video series. In case you didn't know, GolfWRX.com gives away hundreds of thousands of dollars each year in equipment through social media and in our forums with giveaways and member testing threads. Now, we're spreading the love to YouTube. One lucky subscriber who likes and comments on this episode of Inside the Ropes will be randomly selected to win a limited edition right-handed Cobra DS Adapt LS season opener driver at 10.5 degrees aloft, equipped with a True Temper hazardous black 60 gram 6.5 flex shaft. Okay, now for some LIV Golf gear news. We got to look at Cam Smith's blacked out setup. Terrell Hatton's irons and wedges. Martin Keimer's bag. Including an old TaylorMade slider hybrid. John Rahm's Legion 13 stamped wedges. And here's a look at Dustin Johnson's Tuesday setup. Word from on site was that he was testing drivers from various companies including Titleist and Ping on Monday. But on Tuesday, a single TaylorMade QI35 driver was in the bag. We also got a look at Sergio Garcia's Wednesday setup. And his awesome custom Air Jordan shoes. We watched along as Brooks Koepka dialed in his driver on the range on Wednesday. And legendary photographer Greg Moore took in-hand photos of Koepka's entire bag setup. Of course, that wasn't the only bag that Greg took photos of. Head over to the GolfWRX.com forums where Greg uploaded a total of 46 photo galleries, including 31 full What's in the Bag threads. A truly incredible photo performance from the legend this week. Now for the moment I assume you've all been waiting for. Let's get to Bryson DeChambeau's incredible bag setup. Bryson is a long driving scientist who constantly pushes the boundaries on the course, and with his equipment. On Tuesday, we spotted Bryson with the crank driver. And testing out a custom LA Golf prototype driver. His irons are different than everyone else's in the world right now due to the custom bulge that they have on the face. He spoke about the irons in 2024 saying this: "They've just got a different curvature on the face than other equipment. Most equipment is flat. These have a different curvature on the face that allows me to have my mishits go a little straighter sometimes. When I mishit it on the toe or the heel, it seems to fly a lot straighter for me, and that's what's allowed me to be more comfortable over the ball." We also took a look at his custom pin glide wedges. And his extremely heavy arm lock length putter that's covered in lead tape. It's a special bag set up for a special golfer, and don't forget to head over to his YouTube channel where he's amassed nearly 2 million subscribers. Now, let's kick it over to GolfWRX.com's gear expert Brian Knudsen, host of the popular Club Junkie podcast and star of GolfWRX's video series Winning What's in the Bag and League Night What's in the Bag, for an in-depth breakdown of this week's standout clubs at the PGA Championship. Knudsen, let's kick it over to you.
Hey, thanks, Tursky. You're right. I've been looking through a lot of what's in the bags from the PGA Championship this week in the GolfWRX forums, and kind of noticed a couple cool things or different things when I went through it. We're going to start off with Jon Rahm, and it looks like he's got a prototype Callaway Opus wedge in the bag. This is one we haven't seen before. It is a 66 T grind, so 60 degrees of loft, 6 degrees of bounce, T grind. And the T grind, this thing's got a ton of trailing edge, heel and toe relief, just really heavy there. Looks like it really drops off on that back end, and it's got just kind of a slightly pre-worn leading edge, so a little bit different grind than we've seen from Callaway in the past. Now, the interesting thing about this one to me is that when you look at the back of it, it looks like it's a kind of carbon steel raw wedge. You can see the little spots. It looks like there's like rust starting to form on the wedge, but then when you look at the toe profile, it almost looks like around there, like it's been ground, but the face almost looks like it might be a different material. It looks like there's patina, and then it stops, and then there's something around that toe onto the face where it's not patinaed at all. So pretty interesting that it looks like it might have a slightly different face material. Maybe they went like, a stainless steel on the face with a carbon steel body or something like that. But a really unique wedge, shafted up with a True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Issue S400. But interested to see where this wedge goes. I know before we saw Opus, we had Jaws raw wedges out there that had S6, I believe it was stamped on there, and that was the Opus shape and style. So it'll be interesting to see if SL means anything coming later on down the road or what, but very unique wedge for Jon Rahm in the bag for that 60 degree. All right, the next one I'm looking at is Bryson DeChambeau, and of course he's got a couple drivers. He's been playing the crank driver mostly, but he has been messing with a few LA Golf drivers. Now he's got an LA Golf driver in the bag. This is a total prototype. As you can see, there's no real markings on it or anything like that. On the very top, it does have the LA Golf kind of logo as an alignment aid. This thing is really rough. It is either, to my opinion, it's either 3D printed, fully 3D printed, and just not finished, because you're going to see all the pitting, what might look like printing lines that kind of, as you go into arced areas, it kind of layers up. The other thing it could be is it could be composite. The way those things are layered and the different kind of textures you see, I could see where there could be kind of like some type of either structure or weave in there. But very interesting in how rough it is. It's just not finished, so it's a total prototype there. Now on this one, the face looks like it's almost sandpaperish. If you kind of look really closely, now the center tends to be a little bit worn down because of all the ball marks. But when you look out kind of in the high toe, or the low toe and the high heel area, areas you don't see a lot of contact, it almost looks like there's kind of a rougher, I don't want to call it sandpaper, but rougher texture to it. And I know with texture on the faces, that's going to control how long that ball kind of sits on the face, and it can control spin, either adding or lowering spin. On there, the only printing that we see is a 9-9-10.6. 3. So those are the markings on there, and we know LA Golf and the retail drivers kind of have different models like 12-11 and all that. So it has to do, I would bet, with something with the bulge and roll on this prototype. There's some probably type of elements where that 9 comes in on the bulge and roll, or the 10 or the 6, but it probably has to do with some type of face curvature. And 3, my guess would be it's like the third version. So maybe there's some type of tweaking he's done, and it's got a different face geometry on this one compared to maybe some other models that he has tested in the past. Now the crown is very unique texture. It doesn't really look like carbon to me. It's got a much rougher texture to it. It almost looks like that might be 3D printed as well. Maybe this head could be fully titanium or whatever the material is. And to finish it off, look out on the toe, and there's just an absolutely massive amount of lead tape. So I think, between trying to get the swing weight maybe right, and also trying to maybe promote a little bit more of a fade bias, there's just a gob of strips of lead tape there out on the toe. Really unique driver in Bryson's bag as well. It'll be interesting to see if it makes it into play, or does he continue with the crank driver he's been playing. Next, we have Dustin Johnson. I know we don't see him a ton in the What's in the Bag in the forums anymore because he is over on LIV, but in the bag this week, it looks like he has a brand new TaylorMade QI35 driver, but it is the legendary dot heads. I know we've talked about QI10 dot heads a lot, like Scotty Scheffler and Rory, but it looks like Dustin Johnson has the brand new QI35 dot head. So the dot head is not something that TaylorMade sells at retail, unfortunately, but it is a head that usually has a spin profile in between the QI35 LS and the standard QI35. So you get the forgiveness of the QI35 standard head, you get the kind of slightly lower spin like the LS has, and then the shape on this one is also more closely related to the LS. Still has the 2 movable weights where you can go heavy in the back for more stability, maybe a little bit higher launch. You can push it forward to take some spin off. But a really nice setup there with the QI35 dot head. Interesting to see him with the brand new driver in the bag. I know a lot has been made about Scotty and Rory not switching yet, but Dustin is into the new driver for the PGA Championship. Now, it's something old that's in a bag. We have Eric Steger's Titleist 910H Hybrid. So Eric has this super old hybrid that was launched in 2010, still in his bag. This thing here, it is a 17-degree head, but the hosel is set to C4, so that's going to add a degree of loft and make it 1 degree flat. So he's playing in like 18 degrees. This thing's super old. I mean, you look at the face on it, you can see all the wear. It's got chips under the top where you've had maybe some shots that have been sitting up in the rough and you got under it. But the middle of the thing is definitely well worn. All that black finish is gone. The whole face is silver, as well as the sole. When you look on it, just a high amount of wear into the metal, the finish all gone. But the unique thing too is you look at the shaft, and it's a Mitsubishi stock hybrid shaft that came in it when you could buy it at retail back in 2010 through like 2012. This thing here is the Mitsubishi Ahina. It looks to be the 90HY shaft that they had in there. Now this one there, you can tell it's old because it still says Mitsubishi Rayon, Mitsubishi golf shafts. They're no longer known as Mitsubishi Rayon, they're Mitsubishi Chemical, so definitely older before they even changed the name. This is a club that back in 2010, 11, 12, you could just go into your local shop and just buy it right off the rack. Same one that he has in the bag, nothing tour issue, nothing crazy exotic in terms of shaft, anything like that. Just a really bone stock hybrid from 15 years ago that's still in the bag. But Eric basically said this thing just goes the distance he needs it to go. But interesting to see something old and kind of classic in his bag. All right, putters. We all love seeing putters on tour because tour issue putters are absolutely spectacular. Well, Johnny Kiefer has a Peretti Potenza putter in his bag, which is very good looking. But Peretti is a brand that was founded in 2008. They're based in Texas. They typically started out making really high-end milled putters. They kind of were unique in the sense of back then they were kind of a little bit heavier heads. When stuff was just starting to push 350 grams, they were well beyond 350, 365, all that. They were kind of going a little bit heavier for that style back then. And this one here is, they call it the Potenza. It's kind of an Answer/Newport head. It's got the softer, more rounded bumpers, softer, more rounded corners on it. very kind of slim and compact, very classic look. This one here looks to be stainless, but it's got on the toe, you can see there's a GSS. The 1S is, of course, the dollar symbol. So I'm going to think that this could be German stainless steel that this thing is milled out of. But overall, a really just clean, classic look, a really nice looking putter on there. And if you look at the grip, it is one that he has definitely loved, because that is a very well-worn Super Stroke pistol on there. Now I can't even tell what the size is. It looks to me like a Pistol Tour, just from looking at the logo at the very top. It looks a little bit longer, but something cool, unique, something a little bit different in Johnny's bag. So hopefully it makes a bunch of putts for him this weekend. So those are some of the cool clubs that are floating around in the bags of some of the players at the PGA Championship this year, and we'll keep looking for more as the weekend goes on.
And with that, unfortunately, we say goodbye to Quail Hollow Club and the 2025 PGA Championship. We'll see you next time on GolfWRX.com's video series, Inside the Ropes.